SETN, the Special Events Television Network, presents the Charlotte All-Pro 300 for the Busch Grand National Series of NASCAR from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. This SETN NASCAR Racing Special is brought to you by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Never matters how far you go, Goodyear takes you home. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Exxon, quality you can count on. Exxon. It is a beautiful day for racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. The All-Pro Auto Parts 300 for NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series set to roll off the line. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Eli Gold, along with Jerry Punch and Pat Patterson. Glad you're with us for our SETN coverage of the race today. And Jerry, as is the case with this division's counterpart, the Winston Cup Series, there's a chase now for the championship on the Busch Grand National Tour. And there are some hot drivers starting to get some headlines. Case in point, Rick Mast.
Well, Rick Mast, at 30 years of age, from Rockbridge, Bath, Virginia, Eli. He's been on the tour for about 3 years, but had never won. That is until a few weeks ago. He won at Dover, Delaware. Then he backed it up with a win at Martinsville, Virginia. He's the hottest driver right now in this series, possibly next to Larry Pearson, and he looks for a good run today.
And then there's the old story, if it weren't for bad luck, there'd be no luck at all. Certainly sums up Harry Gant on the Winston Cup Tour this year. But if not for the occasional visit to Busch Racing, where he has picked up some victories this year, the year really could have been a tough one.
This has been the saving grace for Harry. He's driven this Whitaker Racing Buick to victories here at Charlotte back in May, and he won at Darlington back in September. He would like to make it 3 wins for the season, and he's an odds-on favorite sitting on the pole.
The third member of our broadcast crew, Pat Patterson, is with the pole sitter, Harry Gant. Gentlemen?
This afternoon's pole sitter is a man that's enjoyed a lot of success here at Charlotte. He'll lead them away in the number 7 car this afternoon, Harry Gant. Harry's from nearby Taylorsville, North Carolina, and a good run here means a lot of excited fans in this area. Harry, any strategy for this early portion of this particular race?
No, not really. Just getting strapped in here and getting started.
You worried at all, Harry, about the interval, the 15-minute interval?
No, I hadn't really thought about it. I guess we'll think about it when they give us the halfway mark. I don't know what we just hadn't really given a lot of consideration.
Well, Harry Gant is on the pole, and we'll lead them away for this first 150 miles. There'll be a 15-minute stop, and then they'll go back out. Hopefully, Harry Gant will stay up front all day long at Charlotte. Gentlemen?
All right, Pat, thank you. You've got to like Harry's chances here. Of course, it's an interesting mixture of Winston Cup and Busch Grand National regulars today.
So many Winston Cup drivers in the field. In fact, only once has a Busch Grand National driver won this race. Sam Maher did it in 1983 here in this fall event in the 00 car, and we'll talk about that car in a minute. A very tough driver driving that mount today.
Right, Brett Bodine is one of those who is certainly a Busch Series regular, but is also a regular on the Winston Cup Tour, driving for Hoss Ellington. We'll meet Brett Bodine as soon as we come back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
The Monte Carlo SS of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt uses just one make of tire, the Goodyear Racing Eagle. And every Monte Carlo SS leaves Chevrolet with just one make of tire, the Goodyear Eagle GT Street Radial. Not by coincidence, because Goodyear makes better high-performance tires for the track and for the street. Goodyear Eagles, they'll take you home the quick way or to the winner's circle.
Goodyear, take me home.
Camping, we leave the firewood to Dad, the fishing to Mom, and the picture taking to Minolta.
The Minolta Freedom Dual has 2 lenses built in.
We leave it all to our Freedom Dual.
Just touch the button to go from there to here. Even the flash is automatic.
And we leave the cooking to the bear. The bear?
For great pictures.
You know who to leave it to.
Freedom cameras.
Only from the mind of Minolta. Live from Madison Square Garden, it's the 100th anniversary of the USA Mobile Indoor Track and Field Championships. Year after year, the best in the world have gathered at the Garden. You're invited to celebrate along with these top athletes who will be competing in this, the final event of the 1988 Mobile Indoor Grand Prix season, Friday, February 26th. Tickets are available at the Garden box office and all Ticketron outlets, or by calling Teletron at 212-947-5850.
We welcome you back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the All-Pro Auto Parts 300. Eli Gold and Dr. Jerry Punch here topside. We were talking before the break about Brett Bodine. He's a spunky little driver. The guy can drive a race car, and he's trying to make a mark for himself on the Winston Cup Tour, yet is still a mainstay here in the Busch Series.
You know, Brett has had a good season in Busch Grand National Racing, but they have not won. And never since the beginning of Howard Thomas's Busch Grand National career and fielding cars for Sam Art over the many years has he gone a year without a victory. It's winding down. He would like to win one before it's over with, and maybe today's the day.
One of the brother combinations in today's field, Jeff Bodine and this man, Brett Bodine. Fellas?
On the outside pole this afternoon for the action here at Charlotte is Brett Bodine. Brett, you've had some good runs here at Charlotte, and I know today needs to be a good run for you again.
Yeah, we haven't got a win yet this year, and we'd like nothing more to pick one up here today for the Thomas Brothers team. Car's running good, and you know, we're just going to have to see what happens. We've run good here before in the past, and hopefully we can put it all together today.
Concern about the 15-minute interval?
No, not really. Not really. I'd like to just see it go be a straight 300 miles, but you know, everybody else has got to stop too, so maybe it'll work for us, maybe it'll work against us.
That's the outside pole setter, Brett Bodine.
Well, thank you, Pat. And with Brett Bodine, you know, Eli, Brett will be driving Bud Moore's Motorcraft Ford and next year on the full tour for the Winston Cup season. But he's not only one of the top drivers today, there's some other strong horses in today's field.
You've got Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Bobby Allison, and we would be remiss if we went any further without mentioning the points battle. Larry Pearson leading with Jack Ingram right behind him chasing.
356-point lead for Larry Pearson. If he gains 4 points today, he will wrap up the championship, and he just could do it.
Might happen. We'll find out. Hope you can stick around and join us as we take a look at the starting lineup for today's All-Pro Auto Parts 300. And we really couldn't have asked for a better day for racing here at the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway as this field begins to pull off pit road. A fairly lengthy field, top to bottom, start to finish today. We'll detail it for you here as we take a look at those who have qualified. You've already met the drivers on the front row, Harry Gant and Brett Bodine, and a couple of Winston Cup regulars as well on row number 2, Dale Earnhardt, en route to the Winston Cup Championship this year, and Bobby Allison.
Ed Barrier, an up-and-coming young driver, will start inside row 3 along with Jeff Bodine. The veteran campaigner probably could have won the pole but had problems in qualifying. Row 4, Darrell Waltrip, and the hot hand is Rick Mast.
Larry Pearson, who's trying to put away the Busch Grand National Championship, and Glenn Jarrett, he's in a Ford today, Glenn is. Bill Elliott and L.D. Ottinger on row 6.
Row 7, Jimmy Hensley and Morgan Shepherd. Row 8, Rusty Wallace, a Winston Cup campaigner, and Mike Alexander, an up-and-coming driver who runs awfully well.
The 9th row has the veteran Jack Ingram, currently second in points in the Ford Thunderbird of Mark Martin. Veteran Tommy Ellis runs well in this division, and Rob Moroso, the youngster from Connecticut.
Back in row 11, the veteran Donnie Allison, IMSA Camel GT campaigner Tommy Riggins. Row 12, Busch Grand National regular, tough year for Tommy Houston, and Robert Ingram, up-and-coming young driver.
Elton Sawyer and Dale Jarrett, a couple of youngsters on row 13. Sawyer from Virginia, Jarrett from North Carolina. Northerner Kenny Bouchard and Kenny Burks from Virginia.
Row 15, the female contingent, Patty Moise, veteran Neil Bonnet. Row 16, Billy Standards from the Charlotte Daytona Dash Series, and Brad Teague.
Here at Charlotte, North Carolina, you see Mike Porter and Larry Pollard sharing row number 17. Larry Brolsma, we'll see another driver in that car later, and Ronnie Silver.
Back in row 19, Eli, Joe Thurman, the 1968 national champion, and Bosco Lowe. Row 20 from up north, New England way, Joey Carafas and Bobby Dragon.
On the flag stand, Bobby Scruggs giving the field the 1-to-go signal. Dickie Boswell and Joe Cudmore in row number 21. Dexter Knipe and Benny Curley in row number 22. And there you have the 44-car starting field. Pat Patterson was just telling us during the break that there will likely be some driver changes here today. We mentioned that Larry Brolsma is starting car number 26 there. He's from Midland Park, New Jersey, but Trevor Boyes is scheduled to take over there a bit later on. And also from the northern contingent, Joey Carafas might have a change in store.
We understand Dana Patton will be climbing aboard that car. That car belongs to Dana Patton, the U.S. Chrome Chevrolet.
And that was that quick shot we just saw there. They are effecting that driver change right now, as Joey Carafas will get credit for starting the event in points. This is a combination event, the Busch Grand National Series and the Busch Grand National North Tour. And there will be points handed out to both those divisions here today. Consequently, the abundance of northern drivers.
And for the Busch Grand National South Tour, this is event number 25 in what is a 27-race season worth $2.7 million. 2 more events to go. A tight point battle we mentioned. But up front right now, it looks like Harry Gant has everything going in his way, because Gant, when he left Charlotte back in May of '87, was in victory lane. He would like to repeat that effort today as they're coming down the green.
Safety car peels off the banking of turn number 4. You'll see the unusual line as they come through this tri-oval area. They'll literally cut across the corner of the grass. You might see where some of that grass has been eroded already. And we get the green flag, and racing is underway here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Harry Gant in the green and white car number 7. Tucking in behind him the black and silver colors for Dale Earnhardt. Brett Bodine and Bobby Allison also right there behind.
Dale Earnhardt moving in behind Gant as they shuffle the deck coming out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. And moving to the inside, Rick Mast bobbles a little bit.
He did. He tried to work himself clear to the inside and really had to work to hang on to the automobile. There are the front 3 cars. Now the 4th car, Brett Bodine. He'll make a move inside of Bobby Allison. Both Bobby and Donnie in the field as we see those balloons having been cut loose in front of this massive front stretch grandstand. Still Harry Gant's show. Good battle now between Mast and Brett Bodine, but there's a lead duo. And Dale Earnhardt is not wasting any time, Jerry. That's typical of him. If he can get to the front, that's where he wants to be.
Earnhardt pushes the Goodwrench Chevrolet wide open on the backstretch. Jeff Bodine, the elder of the 2 Bodine brothers in the car number 15, moves to the outside in turn 3, but he will ride high, and Earnhardt will be the leader.
Field whistling past our camera coming off turn number 4, and again it's Dale Earnhardt with the battle for second. Harry Gant coming right back to the inside of Jeff Bodine.
It looked like Jeff Bodine had the hot hand. It's a brand new race car. It is a state-of-the-art piece of machinery. It is absolutely a fabulous piece of work, and looks like Jeff Bodine will begin to flex a little muscle. Everyone thought Bodine would be on the pole. He burned a piston, blew the engine in qualifying. He still started up front, but not as quick as he'd like to have been.
Well, if these first few laps are any indication, we're in store for a great one. The Charlotte 300 for the Busch Grand National Cars of NASCAR. More when we return.
They're the biggest, most powerful monster trucks in the world, unleashing their awesome power in the hottest new home video, Return of the Monster Trucks. It's raw action on the first monster truck obstacle course ever, with Bigfoot, USA 1, Monster Vet, Rolling Thunder, and more. Plus exciting side-by-side car-crushing drag racing, unbelievable truck crunching. See Awesome Kong crush a mobile home. If you like the original Battle of the Monster Trucks, you'll love Return of the Monster Trucks. You won't believe your eyes as these monsters of the Midway take to the water, and much, much more. You've got to experience the ultimate crushing power and thundering action in this all-new video. Return of the Monster Trucks. It's not available in stores, so order yours today. It's dynamite. Call now, 1-800-554-7800 to get your copy of Return of the Monster Trucks for just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Order now and get a monster toy truck at no extra cost. This awesome video is available only through this special offer. So call now, 1-800-554-7800. Save COD charges by using your Visa or MasterCard. Call now.
You're watching Madison Square Garden Network. To me, investing is a lifelong proposition. Whether you're 25 or 55, whatever your individual goals, you must be diversified. You've simply got to build a prudent mix. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, fixed income securities. Investing today means avoiding conflicts of interest. Get your advice independent of the broker performing your transactions. Today, more than ever, it's critical to reduce your investing costs. If you make your own decisions, you ought to be able to cut your commission costs in half, trade after trade, year after year. The savings over the long haul can maximize your total return. If you define investing as I do, when you choose a broker, I hope you consider Schwab.
For a free booklet, What a Discount Broker Can Do for You, call toll-free 800-422-9900. That's 800-422-9900. Call Schwab now.
You're looking at Jeff Bodine in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet. Eli Gold with Dr. Jerry Punch. Pat Patterson here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. And already, Jerry, we're seeing some of the faster cars begin to lap the slower.
A large field today here, Eli. 44 cars starting. Now, that's a big track at Super Speedway. There were 36 cars that qualified, 4 provisional spots to make the 40, and 4 more cars added this morning in a last chance race won by Dickie Boswell.
As we've been mentioning, Brett Bodine is working his way through traffic, but Jeff Bodine is leading this race in a brand new race car, and Pat Patterson is with the car builder and crew chief.
Robert G is the crew chief on Jeff Bodine's car. Robert, the car seems like it's hooked up, working awfully well out there.
Yeah, this is a brand new car. We just got finished with it about a week ago, and this is the first time we're running it. It's perfect.
Is this the same car that your car owner, Rick Hendrick, tested earlier?
No, this is a new one. I just finished this one.
Okay, well, you got any problems at this point?
No, this car is perfect.
Okay, Robert G with a perfect car for Jeff Bodine this afternoon.
Indeed, Eli, this car is perfect. This car doesn't belong on a racetrack. It belongs in a museum or in a showroom with velvet ropes around it. It's a 1979 Chevrolet Nova, body by Robert G., chassis by Mike Laughlin, of course, Mike Jarrett. Richard Broom is the crew chief. It's absolutely a beautiful car, of course, owned by Rick Hendrick, and I can't believe they want to race this car. It is that pretty.
It really is a good-looking race car, and he can't shake Harry Gant. Gant in car number 7, staying right there with Jeff Bodine, not necessarily making a move to challenge as they work off the corner. And again, they're already closing in on some of the slower cars in the field, having bypassed about 7 or 8 cars so far in the early stages of this event. It's a 200-lap event, if you're not familiar. 1.5 miles. Charlotte Motor Speedway, 200 laps makes up the 300 miles of today's event.
We talk about the fact that Jeff Bodine is in a brand new car. Harry Gant's car chasing him is 9 years old. We'll talk more about that later. But there's a battle back in the pack. Morgan Shepherd. And there is Darrell Waltrip in the car number 17. Shepherd in the black car, and Waltrip makes a move inside him.
Darrell trying to make the pass going into turn number 1, just passing our SETN cameras. And if you stay on the low side of the racetrack, you're going to get the edge if you can get the jump off the corner. But Morgan Shepherd is coming right back. Dale Earnhardt is right there watching. Larry Pearson, Rick Mast, Mark Martin, and Nellick, who's getting lost. It's Darrell Waltrip as he stays low and everybody else went high. And when they hook up on you like that, it's awfully tough to get back in line. Brett Bodine is 3rd in line there. As again, they'll go single file past the start-finish stripe.
Morgan Shepherd, who started back in the pack, this car that he is driving was not finished until 6 o'clock Thursday morning. And we are here at Saturday on a race day, and it's a brand new car as well.
Tommy Houston is the lead car there, just ahead of Bodine. That's Jeff Bodine and Harry Gant. Tommy is trying to hang on and not go a lap down. There is Brett Bodine being passed by both Morgan Shepherd, the 97, and Darrell Waltrip, the 17. They move past slower race traffic on the low side of the track. Jeff Bodine out of control. Jeff Bodine, the Levi Garrett Chevrolet. Jeff Bodine with a wild ride. He's on, well, now the car rights itself very quickly, but Jeff Bodine, the car was running in and amongst some slower cars. Jeffrey quickly jumps out, as you see. He seems to be no worse for the wear. A couple of flames, Jerry, shooting out from beneath the hood, and we are under caution.
Bobby Scruggs waves the yellow flag as the field now comes under control and comes down the speed, and are disappointed and shooken up. Jeff Bodine now walking toward the safety crew, and the ambulance signaling he's okay. And there's what's left of what was an immaculate Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
That museum piece. Here it is again.
The car getting airborne now. Air gets in the car, turning it up sideways. It comes reverse side and then back down on its wheels, and now it will flip over onto its roof. And Jeff Bodine holding on for dear life as Harry Gant slides by up in the top of your picture. The car sliding up across the track. Just be thankful that a couple of good driving maneuvers to keep other traffic from barreling into Bodine's car. Continues to slide now on its roof. You see the sparks spurring there from the top of the roof. Here's our turn 1 camera shooting as the car comes toward it. Traffic staying up high, and Eli, it's just a miracle no one else was able to barrel into Jeff Bodine.
It's going to be interesting to see what happened in our camera. We picked it up just a tad late as Jeff was already out of control across the grass. Tommy Houston and Harry Gant were still running in that 3-car parade that we had seen go down the back straightaway, and we should be able to check up here before much longer on exactly what happened. The good news is Jeff Bodine is fine. The bad news is that museum piece might be ready for the junk heap. We'll be back.
You know, my dad was a mechanic, so I learned at an early age how important it is to use the right motor oil. Well, cars have gotten real complicated since then. So for today's cars, you need today's motor oil. New Superflow from Exxon. Hey, this is a real winner. It's got this special additive wear band that's super at block and wear around the rings, cam, pistons, all over your engine. So you want your engine to last? Go with the flow. New Superflow.
The Monte Carlo SS of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt uses just one make of tire, the Goodyear Racing Eagle. And every Monte Carlo SS leaves Chevrolet with just one make of tire, the Goodyear Eagle GT Street Radial. Not by coincidence, because Goodyear makes better high-performance tires for the track and for the street. Goodyear Eagles, they'll take you home the quick way or to the winner's circle.
Goodyear, take me home.
Silver Eagle Records announces the most explosive record package of the year, TNT. The Temptations. And the Four Tops. Hit after hit, it's the original music for the Big Chill generation. Never before available in one great collection. The Temps and Tops together. To order, call the number on your screen. TNT, The Temptations and the Four Tops on 3 LPs or 2 long play cassettes, just $14.95. And now, for the first time on compact disc, just $16.95. Write or call now.
A good-looking, colorful field here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as we get set for the restart in this Busch Grand National event. There are the top 5. Good run from Mark Martin, Jerry. We have not talked much of him. He's got the Ford Thunderbird with the V8 power.
You know, remember, Ford does not have a V6. There's Mark, the car number 31, just behind the 17 of Darrell Waltrip. He's won 3 times already this year, once on the Super Speedway at Dover, Delaware.
We're also approaching halfway, getting the green here on lap number 92 of a 200-lap event as Darrell Waltrip will lead the parade back across the stripe. See the speedy dry being blown aside, the aftermath of the Jeff Bodine incident of a few moments ago. Now, they are coming up, Jerry, on a situation unique to this particular event. There is an intermission coming up here at the halfway point where everybody will basically have a chance to start over and change their cars to whatever degree they need to.
Well, this split race format is an outgrowth that Humpy Wheeler decided upon and NASCAR conceded to allow to happen for the first time and see how it would work. It simply is they will run 100 laps, a 200-lap race here at the All-Pro 300. They will run 100 laps. On the 100th lap, they will get a red flag. As the cars come around and are scored as 101 laps, they will make their way down pit road and pit. There will be an intermission. We will go back to green for 99 laps to the finish.
Interesting story. Larry Pearson, his car is, I don't know, he's mired in the middle of the pack is the best thing we can say right now. Point-wise, Jerry, for those who might have just joined us along the way, Larry Pearson could mathematically wrap up the Busch Series championship here today.
As we said at the top of the show, he only needs to pick up 4 points. He is 356 points ahead of Jack Ingram, but a good battle right now. A couple of guys trying to pick up positions. There's 2 veterans in the Winston Cup Tour. The 33 car was Bobby Allison, the 8 of Dale Earnhardt.
There's Bobby Allison and Earnhardt. Right behind them, Jack Ingram in car number 11, working inside of Kenny Burks in the 02. Then the 72, that's Rusty Wallace's Kodiak Pontiac for the Busch Grand National Tour. Of course, the paint job the same, the number different from the Winston Cup effort. Dale Earnhardt winning that little battle between himself and Bobby Allison. Bobby's trying to get back in line now. Kenny Burks was quick to close the spot. Good job by the youngster from Charlottesville. And Bobby Allison tucks back in line. We told you Larry Pearson was in the middle of the field. Now he's on pit road, Pat.
Well, as you can see, Larry Pearson's car number 21 is in the pit with the motor off and the hood up. They think they may have blown this motor. Now, he only needed to get up 5 points over Jack Ingram in this particular event to win that second championship. Whether or not that will happen, we'll have to wait and be seen. But it looks like they are going to push the car behind the wall. More than likely, they'll fix it and bring it back out if possible. Gentlemen?
Well, Larry's brother Ricky and Eddie, his brothers, as well as his famous dad David, there trying to work on the car. And we mentioned that Larry was mired back in the middle of the field. That's not where he has been accustomed to running. His last 2 races here, he has finished 3rd. So he finishes awfully well at Charlotte, but not today.
Bobby Allison has clawed his way back to the front of that particular battle. That is from 4th spot on back. There are your front 2 cars, Darrell Waltrip and Mike Martin. They have pulled away from Harry Gant in 3rd, and now Mike Martin wants to go for the lead. He'll make a move to the inside of Waltrip. Darrell led that last lap by about a foot. The Ford, car number 31. The 17, Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee, his Chevrolet. Different power plants we're talking here.
We're talking the V6 for the Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip, of course, the prototype V6, and also a prototype V8 in the car number 31 of Mark Martin. There's a battle back in the pack again. Bobby Allison and Dale Earnhardt just seeing a glimpse of the Rusty Wallace car.
Prototype, of course, if you're new to the racing world, this refers in this instance to a company name, Prototype Engineering, Ron Neal's company, as opposed to the engine being a prototype or something experimental.
Somewhat of a preview to what we may see on some of the SETN shows next year as we go to some of the Winston Cup events, because Mark Martin will be driving a Ford for Jack Roush at all Winston Cup events for 88.
There's Dale Earnhardt. We're closing in on the halfway point and that intermission we talked about. And here comes the signal right now, halfway from the assistant starter, and the caution flag, the mandatory caution, which will bring this field to a halt, and they'll all head down pit road for a chance to work with their crews, and they'll take that on lap 101 the next time around.
And Darrell Waltrip just picked up $5,000 for leading lap 100, a special mark for leading the halfway point.
Now again, everything that you can do legally to a car is permissible to be done during this upcoming intermission. Talking to some of the crews earlier today, they plan in some instances to put the cars up on the jack stands and basically do anything they can. As you see, Bobby Scruggs now with the red and the caution to signal it's time to make that mandatory pit stop.
Anything you normally do during a regular pit stop you can do. You cannot change engines, you cannot change pieces of the car that cannot be ordinarily changed on pit road. You can put the car up, you can change springs, you can soften the car up a little bit, change transmission parts, suspension parts, check it out, change tires, put 4 fresh ones on it, clean it up, and give the driver a little bit of a rest. So it's somewhat halftime here in the All-Pro 300 at Charlotte, Eli.
No marching bands here, but instead a lot of work on pit road. There's Dale Earnhardt tucking in behind Darrell Waltrip. You saw Darrell already out of his car. Drivers will use this as a bit of a refreshing break for themselves. Some will stay in the car. Earnhardt said he might just stay in the car. Others will climb from their vehicles. There's Bill Elliott's crew, Rick Mast. Let's go to Mark Martin's pit.
Well, let's hear it for Mark Martin. A good run out there in that V8 number 31 car. You really had Waltrip in tow there for a little while. Looks like you could have passed him there almost in these last few laps.
Well, Waltrip's a great racer. We had us a good race going. It's a lot of fun. I don't have the opportunity just every day to run up there with those guys like that. This is one of our better days with the Lawmaster Ford Thunderbird, and we're going to give them a run for the money.
Your tires holding up, everything on the car about like you want it?
Tires are perfect. We never changed that whole 150 miles there.
Feel like you can give them a run for the money in this last half?
I feel like we won't have to change tires again today. All we'll have to do is give it a shot of gas and go, and car's right there every lap.
Okay, Mark Martin fired up, came in running second. We'll hope to go back and get up to the first spot.
That BA Lawmaster team has really been the champion of the Ford efforts this year on Busch Grand National Tour Racing. We'll tell you more as this intermission continues at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Listen close. If you're serious about bass fishing, how much can you improve your bass fishing results with these full-time Bassmasters? I'm Ray Scott, and I'm telling you that even after a lifetime of bass fishing, I still ask my buddies, the pros, what's new? And Bass Angler Sportsman Society is for the serious bass fisherman that wants to know what's new, what's hot, and how can I catch more and bigger bass. With your membership to Bass, you receive 10 big issues of Bassmaster magazine packed with how-to articles, exciting photography, and how much would you pay to fish alongside bassing greats like Denny Brauer, Roland Martin, and a host of others? Well, now you can. Call us toll-free and learn from the pros by becoming a BASS member. Here's how.
In addition to 10 big issues of Bassmaster magazine and full membership credentials, you'll get a free tackle pack including auger tail worms, true turn hooks, string line, spinner bait, and the free book, Jackpot Bassin. To join, call 1-800-453-5400. Send no money. We'll gladly bill you.
This is Madison Square Garden Network. The finest in college basketball is part of the tradition at Madison Square Garden.
Cassie going. Cassie shooting. It's good. Cassie Russell has done it again. Indiana down by one. Back out with 8 seconds. Potter forces and
Now, Madison Square Garden Network brings home more than ever. It's a big doubleheader. West Virginia battles Rhode Island, and DePaul confronts St. John's, Saturday at 7.
For the best in harness racing action from across North America, it's The World in Harness. Stan Bergstein hosts this exciting program, which highlights the week's top racing action. Get on track and tune in for The World in Harness.
I'm Stan Bergstein. The World in Harness is seen every Sunday at midnight here on the Madison Square Garden Network.
We are back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eli Gold, Dr. Jerry Punch, Pat Patterson, the entire SETN crew, and the field being pushed off in some instances, rolling on in others as we wrap up this halftime intermission, if you will. And Jerry, they were, it seemed as though it was very much a routine type of pit stop, but like we had speculated earlier, some of the cars went up on jack stands and so on.
Well, we might mention that Bill Elliott had a problem early on with an accelerator sticking. It's not what you want to have at 165 or 70 miles an hour, so they made some adjustments there. Ed Barrier, driving the Cox wood preserving car, changed spark plugs. They thought they may have lost a cylinder. They've been having their troubles. Rick Mast may have lost a cylinder. They've been trying to change plugs in his car. Rusty Wallace, they made some spoiler adjustments, moved some bars around, added some wedge to tighten the car up. So pretty much a routine type pit stop for most of the teams. Some of them did very, very little.
Inning set to go as some of the crowd looks on. Couldn't ask for a better day for racing here in Charlotte. And hello to you too. Darrell Waltrip, Mark Martin, that's the front two. Harry Gant is third. Bobby Allison is fourth. Fifth is the 00 car. Then Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, and Tommy Ellis now up into the 10th spot as we get set to go back to green flag racing on lap number 102.
Bobby Scruggs giving them the green, and looks like there'll be a challenge up front. Some of the lap cars trying to get some time made up, but Waltrip awfully strong. Mark Martin sitting there waiting for his shot. Darrell Waltrip, the winningest driver in Busch Grand National competition, and at this track is Charlotte Motor Speedway. He has won 5 times and has garnished over $182,000, trying to add to that total today.
The 24 car, that's Glenn Jarrett on the inside lane as Mike Martin, Gant, Bobby Allison, and Dale Earnhardt work by. Mark Martin really climbs the banking. Gant takes advantage of that, and so too does Bobby Allison. They'll sneak to the inside of Mike Martin. Interesting to see if where he can get back in line. Allison goes by, Earnhardt goes by. He might try and sneak in just ahead of Tommy Ellis.
Mark is using a little different kind of tire setup and a different tire than some of the other cars are using, so his tires don't work as well when they're new and cold as some of these guys. The Goodyears that Harry Gantz have on, and Bobby Allison and Dale Earnhardt, well, those guys are going straight to the front, and they're pulling away from Mark Martin. Darrell comes back to the outside. Gant's car now binding down on the bottom of the racetrack. You lose a lot of RPM to get inside of Waltrip, and Gant is really strong on the straightaways. Watch him punch the button back there, but looks like he doesn't have the run every Sunday on the Allison driving the car that his young made on the Winston Cup Tour, and another Allison comes their way into racing. Clifford, the youngest.
Ford now, he is drifting back a bit. Well, no sooner do I say that than he comes to the inside pass on L.D. Ottinger and Mark as he was before.
Well, getting back to the tires would not be as quick early on to make his way back to the front, and that's exactly.
Behind the leader, Darrell Waltrip. Boy, Earnhardt's strong.
Talk about strong. Earnhardt not only sat on the pole, but led 194 of the 200.
And Mark Martin is off the pace. Mark Martin is off the pace. He'll be heading towards pit road And we'll get Pat Patterson to stand by as second and third place. Now really close in on Darrell Waltrip. Darrell's lead. Now you see Mark Martin has picked back again. He slowed for a moment. He and L.D. Ottinger had slowed. And then Mark Martin picked right back up and now jumped ahead of L.D. again. Strange doings here. That's back at 5th and 6th spot. We'll keep an eyeball on that. But there's the top three. Closing in on the Rick Mast car. Tough break for Rick today, going a lap down here at the halfway point.
Oh, we mentioned he is a cylinder down, so he
continue, and we are watching again at the same time with our eyes Mark Martin, who has slowed one more time as Ed Berrier now manages to continue. Lead cars.
And there's Mark Martin on the inside of the screen there. His car slowing. He will be making his way to pit road, and a tough break for Martin, and that's the guy they were chasing. Also some smoke from Tommy Houston's car, the Southern Biscuit Flour Buick. And again, we have yellow fever, yellow flag flying from Bobby Scruggs. And there's Mark Martin. What a tough break for the young driver, the 4-time ASA champion who wanted to bring Ford to victory lane one more time this year in Busch Grand National competition.
That was tough to figure. It looked as though the car was running well, then it slowed there for that I don't know, maybe 200 yards. Then he quickly caught fire again and got past L.D. Ottinger, and now he slows again and finally pulls in.
It has to be an engine problem because he is 6th in the points overall, and if it's anything fixable, he would have gone to pit road. Instead, he takes the hard left-hand turn to the garage area.
Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt on pit road for service in front of the Winston Cup Series message board that travels to all of the events on the Winston Cup Tour, and in this case, Busch Grand National Series event. Quick service. A lot more racing coming up. Hope you can stick around as we return to the Charlotte Motor Speedway right after this.
Mustang GT, for people who want more out of life than a little peace and quiet.
The Monte Carlo SS of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt uses just one make of tire, the Goodyear Racing Eagle. And every Monte Carlo SS leaves Chevrolet with just one make of tire, the Goodyear Eagle GT Street Radial. Not by coincidence, because Goodyear makes better high-performance tires for the track and for the street. Goodyear Eagles, they'll take you home the quick way or to the winner's circle.
Goodyear, take me home.
The Meadowlands. I've never been here before.
Just pick a name, Gilda. Who knows? You might get lucky. Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Just listen to me. I know.
Tell me, what do I do?
First time shorty.
Don't be cruel. It's genetic.
No, first time shorty is a sure thing.
Thanks.
And the winner is First Time Shorty.
I won. You're my kind of girl.
And you're my kind of guy.
No, you're my kind of girl in the third.
Since capturing the imagination of the country as a top Olympic skier and a world champion freestyle skier, Susie Chaffee has been a very busy woman. She is a sports commentator, a designer of skis and ski wear, and a reason that freestyle skiing is a demonstration sport at the 1988 Winter Olympics. For World Class Women, I'm Randy Hall.
Set to go back to green, and all of a sudden a new cast of players here as Tommy Riggins, under this caution, is being shown as the race leader, and the green from Bobby Scruggs sends them back to war. Tommy Riggins, of course, a standout on the road racing circuits. IMSA standout, and now he's there at the top of the parade on the Busch Grand National Tour.
Tommy turned 36 today as he runs his race in Charlotte. Now looks like Tommy Ellis in the 58, and Glenn Jarrett, good run for the elder son of former Winston Cup champion Ned Jarrett. Glenn driving the Ford Thunderbird out of the Marvin and Rhett Thaxton stable as they are trying to get the best of Riggins. Riggins hangs on, and Tommy Ellis, former national champion, makes a move to the inside.
The car just ahead of them, number 2, the yellow L.D. Ottinger machine, is not on the lead lap. L.D. Ottinger is showing a lap down. The race lead shuffles back and forth there quickly, and Tommy Ellis has the edge now ahead of Dale Earnhardt. Tommy Riggins getting shuffled back to the 3rd spot. We mentioned Dale Jarrett. You see him to the inside, the right side of your screen, now rejoining the pack. He is, excuse me, that's Glenn Jarrett. I meant to say Glenn as opposed to Dale. Glenn Jarrett is, at this point, a lap down, although running basically with the race leaders.
And Tommy Ellis, you saw, get awfully squirrely as he tries to get inside the lap car of L.D. Ottinger. Ottinger is yet to win this year, but has had some good runs. His sponsor on that car, Chuck Ryder, also owns All Pro Auto Parts and is sponsoring this event, so he would like to run well, and he bobbles again.
Boy,
traffic is tight coming out of turn 4.
Not much room for error right there coming off the corner. Tommy Ellis and Dale Earnhardt running at this point 1st and 2nd. Bobby Allison is 3rd, then the lapped car of L.D. Ottinger. 4th is Darrell Waltrip. 5th is Tommy Riggins.
You know, Tommy Ellis is 40 years old, and he's 1981 national champion for NASCAR. He took over this ride early in the year, and he has done one whale of a job in this car. The car J&J Racing out of Savannah, New York, near Syracuse. And Tommy said if they could just get a sponsor, maybe for 88, they could run for the championship. But they just might, and they're very impressive today.
Just taking a quick look here at the lap count, Jerry, sitting as we are at lap 130 of the 200. These guys really couldn't go the distance from here. It'll be awfully close.
It'll be awfully close. They can run about 90 miles. You know, we're talking a 1.5 mile track. We're looking at 60 laps. It's going to be awfully tight.
There you see Tommy Ellis and Bobby Allison. They nudge each other coming off the corner. All the while, Darrell Waltrip behind L.D. Ottinger, who is a lap down and still trailing the race leader, Dale Earnhardt. That Ellis and Allison battle is a good one.
Two determined race drivers there. You see Harry Gant in the green car, the Skoll car of the Ed Whitaker stable, laboring back in the pack. Gant was trying not to run the car too hard early on, but he is right in the hunt. Heavy traffic up front. Dale Earnhardt leads the way, and now looks like Darrell Waltrip has made his way around the Tommy Ellis car and makes his move in on Dale Earnhardt.
This battle far from over. 200 laps make up the All Pro Auto Parts 300-mile event here for the Busch Grand National cars as Dale Earnhardt continues to pace the field.
Tony Eury and the Earnhardt crew, the Goodwrench crew that prepares this car for his Saturday races in the Busch Grand National Tour, have done a good job of getting this car dialed in. Now, the track has gotten a little bit slipperier than the beginning of the race, so they have changed the car a little bit, added a little bit of wedge, a little bit of bite during the intermission period, which we had here earlier, and now Earnhardt has really moved to the front.
Everything's very much his own way for the time being. Dale Earnhardt. He'll be sponsored by Goodwrench on the Winston Cup Tour next year.
It will have that silver number and, of course, the black and white along with the Dayglow orange interior of the Goodwrench colors. Speaking of the orange colors, there comes the Tide car, the Chevrolet. Eddie Jones, Donnie Richardson and the crew.
Dexter Knipe. Problems there. You see the tires shredding off. Looked as though Dexter tagged the wall in the corner. You can see the right front fender peeled back as though someone took a can opener to the car. We are under caution. Dexter Knipe brings out the caution flag. And Jerry, any question we had earlier about going the distance fuel-wise should be erased right here.
Well, Dexter Knipe having a tough break, and as he makes his way around, we will have yellow, and a number of the leaders will make their way on the pit road. We expect to see everyone come in. Remember now, under yellow in this series, you can only change 2 tires. Let's go to the pit.
9 times out of 10, gentlemen, this is what it boils down to. This pit stop will allow them to take on enough fuel and tires to go the additional laps that they've got to make. The previous caution flag would not have allowed them to make it all the way on the gas that they had. Now here's 2 crews, probably the best in the business. The time of Darrell Waltrip is going to beat the number 8 crew, Goodwrench, and Dale Earnhardt out of the pits.
So as Dale Earnhardt pulls away, we've got a good bit of racing yet to go. The All Pro Auto Parts 300 far from being settled. A lot of good quality cars that can still win it. Stick around. We'll be taking you towards the checkered flag as we return to the Charlotte Motor Speedway right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Mark Jackson of the New York Knicks. You're watching Madison Square Garden Network. We bring the garden home.
It started one day with the kid down the street. That block-busting sound got them moving their feet. No ordinary day in this quiet little town. It was get down and party music to rock the block down. 45 giant hits to get your party hopping. The original stars to get your block rocking.
1, 2, 3.
Rocking down the block didn't cost much bread, but it's got this block rocking right out of their heads.
To order, call the number on your screen.
The beat carried further from miles around till the whole town was dancing to that rock and roll sound.
I feel good. Hey, give me some of that.
Rockin' Down the Block, the ultimate party album for ultimate party people on 4 LPs or 3 cassettes, just $19.95. 2 compact discs, just $24.95.
Write or call now.
We are set to get back to green. Car number 71, that's Bobby Dragon there at the head of the parade, directly ahead of Bobby Allison. Dragon is on the tail end of the lead lap right now. There you see the top 5 as they get set to go back to green.
Mentioned Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip up front. A driver we haven't mentioned today running third as the smoke comes out of the Earnhardt car. More smoke comes out of the 8 car, but the 9 car in front of Earnhardt is Bill Elliott. Now that is a Buick, a Coors Buick. You say, well, it can't be. Elliott runs a Ford. Well, they have nicknamed this car Buford because it's a Buick and it's being prepared and operated by a Ford driver and Ford team. Therefore, Buick and Ford together gives us Buford.
I like that. I like that. Bobby Allison is not concerned about the calling it. He just wants to stay out in front of it. Bobby is in the 33. Darrell Waltrip the 17. There's old Buf. Car number 9, Bill Elliott, ahead of Dale Earnhardt. That smoke continues to come out of the rear of the Earnhardt car. There you see it right now. You can see the smoke trailing the 8 machine.
Earnhardt's got to be dropping back a little bit too, Eli, and I think Tony Urey and the Goodrich crew on pit road are a little bit concerned and maybe looking to bring Earnhardt in a little bit to take a look-see. And I'm sure NASCAR is watching awfully closely too. They don't want to see a car like Earnhardt's or any car up front of the field lose to anything on the track, as some of the fans sitting there with a nice ice cream cone and enjoying the action.
That's Americana for you. Got the Cub Scouts eating ice cream and popcorn and Cracker Jack at the races. Norman Rockwell should have been here to paint that scene. Allison, Waltrip, and Elliott, first, second, and third. You can see how far Earnhardt has dropped off now. He was just there at the top of the screen for a moment. Now he's actually being caught from the rear flank by L.D. Ottinger. And there you see the smoke, particularly when he lets off going into the corner.
He must have some kind of oil leak. You see the car beginning to skitter a little bit, possibly simply getting on those rear tires.
Couple of veterans still. Allison and Darrell Waltrip battling for the lead with Bill Elliott. Just joining us, we are at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Busch Grand National cars of NASCAR. Harry Gant has led this event. So too Dale Earnhardt. Jeff Bodine led. Bill Elliott. Darrell Waltrip leading the event. And now you see 33 Bobby Allison. Actually, under caution, we also saw Tommy Riggins lead. Tommy Ellis led also during a caution flag period.
And there's the Buick we talked about. That car has only run 1 race this year.
And Jerry, understand that Dale Earnhardt is being brought into the pits. There we cut quickly to the Earnhardt pit area. They are awaiting him right now.
Tony Urey standing there with the air wrench, and Pat Patterson is there.
And gentlemen, Dale Earnhardt brings the number 8 Goodrich car into the pit area. The crew is going to go around to the right side of the car and change the tires. Now, a NASCAR official is out trying to see exactly where the smoke is coming from. Talked a little earlier with the crew chief. He thought it was an oil leak. Now they are going to take the hood up, and NASCAR will not let Earnhardt go back onto the speedway until they determine exactly what the problem is. It's going to be a tough break for Dale Earnhardt, but a little bit of a relief for perhaps Darrell Waltrip.
I don't know how much of a relief for Darrell Waltrip. He's still got a good bit of company behind him on the racetrack as the field goes by, and Earnhardt losing another lap on pit road.
Jim Adams and Buster Otten, NASCAR officials, pointing in the Earnhardt car, and now the speedway.
And there he is in car number 17, Bobby Allison in car number 33, as they battle going up towards turn 3, and Darrell, using the low side of the racetrack, has the lead here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Picking their way around some of the slower cars. Bill Elliott right there. You're right, Jerry. We hadn't talked all that much about Bill, but the later we get into the race, all of a sudden his Buick is very much on the scene. Oh, problems. Turn number 1, Kenny Burks. Patty Moise avoided nicely. Everybody else stays away. Kenny Burks from Charlottesville, Virginia spins, and we are going to be under caution. Bobby Scruggs puts out the caution flag for the 6th time here this afternoon.
Kenny Burks, a 26-year-old driver from Charlottesville, has had his lumps on speedway competition. He hit the wall head-on a year or so ago at Darlington early in the race after a great qualifying effort. One of his best finishes came here at Charlotte. He finished 11th earlier in his career, but he will not have a good finish today, and that car has been shortened somewhat. That Pontiac Ventura hitting heavy into the wall, as now Darrell Waltrip leads the field around under caution one more time.
He and Bobby Allison running 1st and 2nd. Bill Elliott in the 3rd spot, and there are the front 3. Harry Gant still very much in the hunt. You see him about 5th or 6th in line there as the safety crew is on the scene. You can see Kenny Burks moving around in the driver's compartment of car 02, so evidently from this distance he is okay, and now he begins to climb out.
We might mention, Eli, you know, why does a driver not just jump out of the car and wave and signal he's okay? He's told by NASCAR to stay in that car until the safety crews arrive.
Under this caution, Dale Earnhardt back on pit road for work again on the Goodwrench car, Pat.
Dale Earnhardt has got his car one more time back on the pit road. Now, this caution flag is a welcome relief for Earnhardt. He may be able to make up the lap that he's lost as they've come in and changed tires over here on the left side. Now, they have one of the crew member is under the front of the car. He's trying to get to that oil leak so that they can slow some of the smoke down.
That was a good shot of Earnhardt there. That low profile he takes in the car, just kind of leering out over top of the door post there to see exactly what's going on. He's a good competitor.
He relaxes in the race car. He's a pretty relaxed guy outside the car as well.
Kenny Burks, 02 machine, on the wrecker as the field goes by, and you see part of the Charlotte Motor Speedway crowd, the Speedway Club enclosed seats. That's the new edifice at the start-finish line area here at the track. We are still within a handful of laps of the finish here. There's lots of racing yet to go, with right now 3, possibly 4 or 5 drivers who can win it. Stick around. More of this story to unfold right after this.
They're the biggest, most powerful monster trucks in the world, unleashing their awesome power in the hottest new home video, Return of the Monster Trucks. It's raw action on the first monster truck obstacle course ever, with Bigfoot, USA 1, Monster Vet, Rolling Thunder, and more. Plus exciting side-by-side car-crushing drag racing, unbelievable truck crunching. See Awesome Kong crush a mobile home. If you like the original Battle of the Monster Trucks, you'll love Return of the Monster Trucks. It's not available in stores, so order yours today. It's dynamite. Call now, 1-800-554-7800 to get your copy of Return of the Monster Trucks for just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Order now and get a monster toy truck at no extra cost. This awesome video is available only through this special offer. So call now, 1-800-554-7800. Save COD charges by using your Visa or MasterCard. Call now.
You're watching Madison Square Garden Network.
From jam-packed arenas all across the country, the World Wrestling Federation brings the excitement home to you each week, right here on the WWF Wrestling Challenge. Join me, Gorilla Monsoon, and Bobby the Weasel, the Brain Heenan, as we take you ringside for all the action, all the excitement, right here on WWF Wrestling Challenge.
Tuesday at 11, only on Madison Square Garden Network. You're watching Madison Square Garden Network, where you can always be a part of the finest in special events and year-round sports action. Originating from the world's most famous arena, MSG Network brings you the best program lineup and all the excitement of being there. So relax and bring home the feeling with Madison Square Garden Network. We bring the garden home.
Hi, I'm Linnea Mancini, Miss New York, USA. You're watching Madison Square Garden Network. We bring the garden home.
With Darrell Waltrip leading and Bobby Allison second, we welcome you back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the waning laps of the All-Pro Auto Parts 300 here on SETN. Eli Gold with Dr. Jerry Punch and Pat Patterson's turned out to be a pretty fair show here today.
Heck of a show, Eli. Good field of cars, very little attrition thus far. It's been a good race. I think the intermission has lended itself well as Bobby Allison's car now makes an unexpected appearance on pit road. Jimmy Finnegan Clifford Allison, Bobby's young son, the rest of the crew there waiting for that Buick to make a stop, and we'll see what they're going to do. A crew member goes inside the car, so he'll make an adjustment, and Finning rips something off the grill in the front of the car as he walks back across. Allison's car being pushed back now. He will fall back in line, not losing a lap, but losing some distance on the racetrack.
We'll take a look at the leaderboard now as Bobby rejoins the fray. Lead car is still Darrell Waltrip with Bill Elliott. Here come the leaders now as we update it for you. Brett Bodine, Harry Gant, and still Tommy Riggins right in there in the hunt. Good run for Tommy today.
Tommy in only his 4th Busch start of the year. His best finish at 9th at Darlington earlier.
Let's go to the Bobby Allison pits. Pat Patterson is there with Jim Fennick.
Jimmy, what's the story? Why did he come in that time?
They made us take the tape off the grill.
And that was a problem. I also saw a guy go inside to adjust the chassis there on the right side. Was he complaining that the car might not be just right?
It's a little tight, so we took a little wedge out of it.
Okay, that's the story of Bobby Allison's pit.
So that's what you saw him rip off the front of the car, some tape coming off the grill.
You know, in qualifying, you can put some things and close up the grill. You can put a plate beneath the grill or some tape across it, and the car will go a little bit quicker because you're not getting air in the front of the car. And that's not allowed during the race, and maybe for whatever reason, NASCAR saw him do it. Some other teams apparently do it intermittently, and they said, nope, you can't do it. Come back down pit road. Fortunately, it won't cost Bobby anything but a little spot on the racetrack for now.
Back into green, Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott, 1st and 2nd. We've not talked much about Brett Bodine today. He's still running up with the lead cars in the top 5. Harry Gant is still there, but the front twosome, Waltrip and Elliott, trying to peel away from the rest of the field. The yellow car, number 2, L.D. Ottinger. He is a lap down, showing in 7th right now. Harry Gant, the green and white car, number 7, trying to pick his way around Donnie Allison and around Brad Teague as well, as we're again back to the race leaders. There's Rusty Wallace, Tommy Riggins, Tommy Ellis, and Bobby Allison, who tries to work himself back up. And still the smoke you see from Riggins' car, the 29, and the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt.
A lot of smoke from Riggins' car now as that car begins to slow and the field moves by. What a tough break for the Jacksonville, Florida driver. Tommy Riggins' hopes going up in smoke now as he heads down through the tri-oval for turn 1.
That is too bad. As we were just saying a few moments ago, he was having a good run as Bobby Dragon goes by, Patty Moise goes by, Jack Ingram, Robert Ingram Jr. and Tommy Riggins evidently ending the day right here. We just saw Jack Ingram go by, and by virtue of Jack still running and Larry Pearson having dropped out as early as he did, assures the fact that the championship chase will continue on at least to the next spot. We're showing now unofficially Pearson, what, about 36th spot, judging from where he fell out with how many other cars are still running.
And Ingram is being shown approximately 18 laps down, so he is back in the field, but he is still running, so he may gain some ground. He will gain some ground on Larry Pearson.
We were only talking about 5 points that Pearson had to pick up on Jack Ingram to end the championship battle here today. Actually 4 to tie it and 5 to win it, if I'm not mistaken, but with the point spread being what it is, even if Jack fell out right now, Larry Pearson finishing as we have it in 36th would not be able to pick up the necessary deficit here today. So the battle will continue.
There's the battle back up front, and a good run for Bill Elliott, who didn't qualify all that well. The car, he said, was a little bit under horsepower, built by Billy Hess and Butch Stevens. This car, the number 9 car, was already sold before today's race to a businessman in Augusta, Georgia. So they said, be careful, Bill. Don't tear the thing up. We own it now. So Bill out there having a good run and put some heat on Darrell Waltrip.
Those guys have got to like what they see with this car running as competitively as it is.
Well, the car's essentially new. It's only had 1 race. They ran at Darlington, had some problems, and the engine had to park it there. But they are running awfully well here, so they certainly have got themselves a winning machine. Butch Stevens, Billy Hess, who said mentioned the car, built the car. They have a building shop, an engine building or car building shop here in Charlotte, so they've got to be pretty pleased with their work.
Harry Gant, the green and white car, is 3rd. Brett Bodine is 4th. The other car there, L.D. Ottinger, you saw for a moment, is, as we said, a lap down. When somebody buys a car, as the case of these fellows from Augusta, Georgia, buying the number 9 machine from Butch Stevens, do they buy the whole deal, lock, stock, and barrel? Do they get the engine with it, the transmission, all the parts and the like, or do they buy basically the rolling chassis without the extras, if you will?
Normally you buy a car less engine because there are so many variables now in the engine compartment, and there's so much experimentation going on with the V6. Pontiac has a V6, there's the Buick, the Chevrolet V6s, and many of the engineers don't want that V6 going out of the house, so to speak, where it can be looked at and researched by someone who's not a part of the program. So they'll sell the car, the transmission, the rear end, but no engine.
Rusty Wallace, 72, Bobby Allison, 33. They're battling for position. They are running 4th and 5th, respectively. Tommy Ellis, car number 58, also on the lead lap. Brad Teague is there in car 75. But all the while, it's Darrell Waltrip out cruising by his lonesome. And he has, for the moment, left Harry Gant. Oh, some smoke from one car. Was that Billy Standridge? Billy Standridge, car number 47, evidently losing an engine on the back straightaway. Standridge came over a few years ago from what is now the Charlotte Daytona Dash Series of NASCAR. And Billy is taking it down pit road, evidently right to the garage area.
He had one of the few V8s in the field. That car was formerly built by Bob Johnson and campaigned on some of the speedways by NASCAR Busch North Series driver Randy LaJoie.
That's 2nd and 3rd place. Harry Gant is 2nd. His car owner is Ed Whitaker with Pat Patterson. Pat?
Ed Whitaker's the car owner on Harry Gant's number 7 car, who's now in the 2nd place. Ed, it seems like the car's doing really well out there.
Yeah, it's running pretty good. Tire stagger's off a little bit, but he's just trying to hang on right now.
We weren't sandbagging any out there waiting for the right time to go, were we?
No, we got the tire stagger off and just now got it back close.
Okay, well, Harry Gant's won here at Charlotte before, and he'll attempt to do the same thing again.
Sandbagging? People don't sandbag at racing. No. Stick around. There's more coming up from the Charlotte Motor Speedway after this.
You know, my dad was a mechanic, so I learned at an early age how important it is to use the right motor oil. Well, cars have gotten real complicated since then. So for today's cars, you need today's motor oil. New Superflow from Exxon. Hey, this is a real winner. It's got this special additive wear band. Then super it block and wear around the rings, cam, pistons, all over your engine. So you want your engine to last? Go with the flow. New Superflow.
When I go on vacation, I leave the entertainment to Ricardo, the cooking to Francois, and the picture taking to Minolta.
Introducing Minolta Freedom Dual, a touch of the button for group shots and telephoto too.
I leave it all to my Freedom Dual.
It's autofocus with 2 built-in lenses. Your check?
You can leave that to my husband.
For great pictures.
You know who to leave it to.
Freedom cameras.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Thanks, New York. Your response to the new Country 97 FM has been overwhelming. You've called, you've written, you told us you love Country 97 FM's continuous country favorites. And you can count on us to keep on playing more of your country favorites back to back, just the way you like them. So keep your radio on 97.1 FM, Country 97 FM, your new home for continuous country favorites.
Darrell Waltrip continues to lead the show here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Rusty Wallace and Bobby Allison, the 72 and 33 cars, respectively, right behind. Likewise, in that particular shot, Tommy Ellis, car number 58, Harry Gant, Brett Bodine also in the battle. Harry Gant, you know, we talked earlier about Jeff Bodine's new car. Harry Gant's car's got some history to it. All of these cars really do, but Harry's in particular, you were just telling me during the break.
You know, Ed Whitaker, who owns this car of Gant, bought it 9 years ago from Sam Ard, and they say Sam had won some 50 short track races with the car. He's had a new front section put on the car by Mike Laughlin, but Ed Whitaker said, you know, Jerry, from the steering wheel back, this car is 9 years old. They moved it from a short track car to a speedway car. Listen to some of the drivers who've driven it on the super speedways the last 5 years. Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, of course Gant, Alan Kowicki, Joe Ruttman, Bill Elliott. This car's had some super drivers, and now Gant is starting to move back toward the front as Brett Bodine trying to run him down a little bit.
Harry Gant's car was number 7. There you see Tommy Ellis, Bobby Allison, Robbie Moroso. The youngster from Connecticut is showing a lap down, but having a good run nonetheless. Oh, and Tommy Ellis off the pace just a bit. He'll slow on the inside of the racetrack. Tommy Ellis is being shown, Jerry, in 6th spot.
What a tough break for Tommy out of Richmond, Virginia. He's running in the top 7 or 8 all afternoon. After a qualifying effort that was a little less than they would have liked to run, Ellis started back in 19th spot inside of row 10. He has been running in the top 5 or 6 all day, and looks like it may be over for Tommy Ellis.
But there you see the gap between that orange car, Darrell Waltrip, and Harry Gant in car number 7. That gap from 1st to 2nd spot is beginning to narrow just a bit, as you see Tommy Ellis continuing to tool around the speedway at a greatly reduced speed.
Tommy trying to make his way back to pit road as the leaders now come shuffling down the backstretch.
Still Bobby Allison, the 33, inside the 72 of Rusty Wallace, battling at the moment for 5th and 6th spots. And Bobby Allison will win that battle off the low side of the racetrack for the moment.
Remember, Bobby Allison made that unscheduled stop to come in and remove the tape from the grill, so that put him at the back of the pack. He is climbed. We have trouble. Patty Moise's car has looped it around and spun, and looks like we will be under caution once again here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eli
putting out the caution on lap 185. Bobby Scruggs will bring this field to a slower pace. Darrell Waltrip probably did not want to see a caution at this point, or possibly he did, because Gant was continuing to close in just a bit.
Well, 12, 13 laps to go. It gives everyone a chance to come in and put a couple of fresh tires on if they so desire. Make one last shot, one last run for what will be probably a 10-lap sprint to the finish.
Brett Bodine running in the 3rd spot. Got Bill Elliott along with Bobby Allison and Rusty Wallace. Those are the only cars on the lead lap.
There's Elliott. You know, Brett Bodine has never won one here. He finished 2nd a couple of years ago back in the spring race in '86, 2nd to Tim Richmond. He would like to win one on the speedways. In fact, Brett hasn't won a race all year. It's been a year. He won on the short tracks at Martinsville in November a year ago, his last Busch Grand National victory. And there he sits in the white car behind 2 Winston Cup veterans. The young driver has his work cut out for him.
You saw car number 93 there a few moments ago, Penny Curley from Hiddenite, North Carolina. One of those who's out there, campaigns a good number of the Busch Grand National races, doesn't get the headlines. Patty Moise, her car on pit road.
David Ifton, the crew, working to change tires on the Red Roof Ends Buick. The Ruggles V6 powering the car of Patty Moise, another challenge driver who came over from the IMSA ranks and has done very well for herself.
While we bring in the 3rd member of our crew for a moment, Pat Patterson is standing by down in the Brett Bodine pit area. And Pat, we've been talking about all that's been going on, who has the strength, who doesn't, and we were just commenting about Brett Bodine. What's the theory down there?
Well, the only regular Busch Grand National star left with a shot to win this one today is Brett Bodine. He's been quiet all day. He lost a lap earlier, made it up. Now he's running in the top 3. Move around and ask Jerry. Jerry, what's he saying about the car at this point?
It's handling great right now. We're just trying to hang on here to the end, make a real good move. The car's been a little bit loose all day, and we tightened it up that last stop. It's running a lot better now.
Okay, well, Brett Bodine will represent the Busch Grand National contingency in the final laps of this one.
Might mention Jerry Kennan has been a crew chief on that car for 6 years, a car owned by Howard Thomas, and 2 years the car was driven to championships by Sam Ard. And one of those years Sam Ard won here at Charlotte was this race in 1983. So 4 years ago, Sam Art was in that car that Jerry Kennan was behind pit wall, and now Kennan would say, let's do it again, this time for Brett Bodine.
And it will be interesting to see who ends up in that 00 car next year. As we all know, Brett will be going full-time Winston Cup racing, as has already been discussed. And that 00 ride, although they have not had typical 00 success this year, it's still one of the best rides on the circuit.
I tell you, some names being hammered about, possibly Tommy Ellis, maybe Rick Mast, maybe Larry Pollard, and that'd be a good shot for Larry to get in that car.
Lights are out atop the safety car. Winding our way down to 13 laps remaining. That's what the status will be when they get the green from Bobby Scruggs next time by. Darrell Waltrip, Harry Gant, the 00 for Brett Bodine. Those cars on the inside line. L.D. Ottinger, the 2 machine, the 25 of Rob Moroso, the 23, the jerseys by Russell Buick for Donnie Allison. They're all at least a lap down.
Lap cars on the inside, as you said. Moving back, there's Glenn Jarrett, of course, Robert Ingram Jr. Good sponsorship announcement this week for Robert Ingram. He will have Rick Hendrick sponsoring his cars for the remaining 3 races of the year and possibly all of next year, and he may run some Winston Cup races.
Back to green. We will have 13 laps remaining as we get back to the wars. Harry Gant quickly flashing past L.D. Ottinger to stay right on the rear deck of Darrell Waltrip in the 17 car. Who do you like here?
It's going to be a tough call. Waltrip has run up front all day. Gant has been saving the equipment. He would like to run him down. In May, it was a reversal. It was Gant and then Waltrip at the finish line. Maybe it'll be that way again.
Harry's been strong on the straightaways all day. Again, he drew alongside Waltrip, but Darrell comes battling back on the high side. Don't go away. We're down to the final 10 laps as soon as we come back.
The greatness of America is displayed in our constitutional right to bear arms, a rich heritage and tradition that spans generations. And preserving all of this is the NRA, the National Rifle Association. You can become a part of this great heritage simply by calling now 1-800-451-6500. For just $20, you will receive the privileges and benefits of NRA membership, including 12 exciting issues of the American Rifleman or American Hunter magazine, $600 gun theft insurance, $10,000 accidental death and dismemberment insurance, your official NRA membership card and window decal, plus NRA's gold-braided insignia shooter's cap. And if you call right now, you will also receive NRA's Sportsman's Premium Pack, loaded with valuable discounts and rebates from the world's leading manufacturers of hunting, shooting, and sporting equipment. Call 1-800-451-6500. Preserve your heritage of freedoms. Join the National Rifle Association.
You're watching Madison Square Garden Network.
The American eagle, proud, free, an image as powerful as the land it symbolizes. This national symbol of freedom and the American spirit is now offered as a limited edition masterwork, the Golden Eagle. The artist has meticulously sculpted the Golden Eagle in painstaking detail, layered his creation in the purest 24-karat gold, and engraved into the rocky ledge his authentic signature and individual serial number, creating a true limited edition collector's item that you'll proudly display among your most prized possessions. The Golden Eagle is offered exclusively through the Metropolitan Guild for Collectible Art at the original issue price of $19.95. This is a limited edition. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-441-3535. That's 1-800-441-3535. Or save COD fee and send $19.95 plus $2 postage and handling to the Golden Eagle, P.O. Box 2001-MSG, Murray Hill Station, New York, New York.
Under green flag conditions, here's how the field stacks up as we work our way towards 10 laps to go. Darrell Waltrip leads. All of those cars you see are on the lead lap. They are the only cars remaining on the lead lap. 1 lap down in 6th, L.D. Ottinger. Robbie Moroso is 7th. 8th is Glenn Jarrett. 9th is Bobby Dragon. And that's how it stacks up at the moment, according to our unofficial tally. I believe we've left out Rusty Wallace. He, too, should be showing on the lead lap. Let's put Rusty up into the 6th spot and correct what we had mentioned. 6 cars on the lead lap, the ones we showed you, plus Rusty Wallace. That right there, however, is the battle for the lead. Darrell Waltrip and Harry Gant. And Gant trying to peek to the inside of the Tide Ride, coming off turn number 4. He's got him. Harry Gant, with 10 laps to go, takes the lead here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now can Waltrip come back on him?
Buick, then Chevrolet, then Oldsmobile, Gant, Waltrip, and Bodine. But the 2 veterans up front, and now Brett Bodine sitting back there just about buying a little bit of a concrete was Bill Elliott in the car number 9. Elliott backsliding now. That's the battle back for 5th spot as Bobby Allison moves inside of Bill Elliott.
Bobby is 4th, Elliott 5th, Wallace is 6th. Harry Gant now, for the first time in a long time, assuming the lead. Harry led back on laps. Well, he led back on lap 188 for just a single lap. His last lead of any consequence back in lap number 55 earlier in the event. Bobby Allison and Bill Elliott still battling, trying to sort out the positions in the top 5. Rusty Wallace still there as well.
Rusty back in 6th spot. Elliott is 5th. Allison is 4th. And the 3 cars up front. Gant now a couple of car lengths over Waltrip. Both Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip have won here at Charlotte since the modern era for the Busch Tour. Gant won back in '82 and again this year in the spring events, whereas Darrell Waltrip has been more successful in this fall event. Waltrip won back in '82 as well in '84. Terry Labonte won this fall event in '85, driving in sub for Darrell Waltrip in this car. In his car, not this car. This is a brand new car.
Just saw a good close-up look at Brett Bodine, last of the Busch Grand National regulars, with a serious chance at winning here this afternoon. Darrell Waltrip getting just that much closer to Harry Gant now. Got to believe Darrell is just setting Harry up for a move here in the waning laps.
Harry moves up across the track in the corners. Darrell seems to be able to keep the car down a little bit as Harry bobbles somewhat coming out of turn 4. Moving around one of the slower cars. Gant awfully strong on the front stretch, and I guess Darrell has begun to realize if he's going to make a move, he needs to get it in the corners. Darrell again sneaks a little bit of half a lane to the inside. Gant holds the middle groove as they have to be careful that Brett Bodine doesn't sneak up on him back there. Brett is back there, of course, Bobby Allison and Bill Elliott. How would you like to be Brett Bodine? Have 4 Winston Cup superstars surrounding you with laps winding down here at Charlotte.
Of course, Brett running on the Winston Cup Tour this year, is used to running with these guys. You're right, this circumstance is a whole lot different as we're down to the final 5 laps of the event. Going past Rick Mast, who, if you're just joining us, running on 5 cylinders. Had those engine problems creep up earlier in the day. There's 2nd and 3rd spot. Going past Brad Teague in the Food Country USA car number 75. Car 7 is your leader, Harry Gant.
Front 2 cars beginning to pull away just a mite from the 3rd place car of Brett Bodine. Opening up some 3 car lengths now as we wind down and show 4 laps to go.
Waltrip is still there. The battle everybody's watching for the win. Ed Whitaker always fields a good car, doesn't he? Really is simple.
Always has a competitive car. And Harry told us before the race he's not going to use the car up early on. The kind of luck he's had this year on the Winston Cup Tour has been awful. He has been only successful in this tour. He's run well. 2 wins, this coming at Charlotte back in the spring in May, and of course recently at Darlington back in September.
Brett Bodine still there right ahead of Bobby Allison. Those front 4 cars pulling away a bit from Bill Elliott, and they have all left Rusty Wallace. Bobby Allison, he drove an Ed Whitaker car last season, brand new car right out of the box at Raceway Park in Indianapolis. So the Whitaker touch certainly extending well past Harry Gant. 2 laps to go.
On top of the fact that Brett Bodine stands to have a good finish here today and possibly have a shot at winning it, he is currently 3rd in the Busch Grand National point standings, and the top two members have already had trouble. Larry Pearson has parked it. He will finish possibly in the 35th or 36th spot, and Jack Ingram is some 18 laps down. So young Bodine stands to gain some points, and he's having trouble.
Brett Bodine, problems with Brett Bodine. Bobby Allison with the T-bone maneuver up in turns 3 and 4. They're coming around for the white flag. Dale Jarrett avoids to the inside of the racetrack. Caution and white flag from Bobby Scruggs. It's down to the final moments here. Brett Bodine looked as though the car just cut loose on him between turns 3 and 4. And as he went up the banking, so did Bobby Allison, trying to avoid him, and Bobby had nothing to do but hit the man.
And Bobby trying to get that car coached around, teasing that injured Miller Buick back across to take a checkered flag as they come around. And with the white and yellow out, it is all academic. Harry Gant will make the sweep for the Busch Grand National Tour as he comes off under caution. He will win it here at the All-Pro 300. And Eli...
We'll never know what Darrell had up his sleeve.
We'll never know. We'll have to wait maybe 2 more races left as Bobby Scruggs holds the checkered flag.
Let's see if we can rack that back, fellas, in the truck. Let's take another look at that incident up in turn 3 and 4.
You got to think possibly that Brett blew an engine. I think that's exactly what happened there in the middle of the corner. He's on the bottom of the racetrack, and the car just slips up across the track, puff of smoke, and boom! Bobby Allison tags him in the driver's door. Allison had nowhere to go. He keeps the car up high. Bodine's car comes sliding down. Watch the good move by Dale Jarrett to miss Brett Bodine across the track. Jarrett stays out of the way. But a tough break for Brett Bodine, and he will officially be shown finishing back in what, 10th spot, Eli?
10th spot, right. They're going to show him a couple of laps down as we have it unofficially. We'll go to the victory lane celebration with Harry Gant, Ed Whitaker, the rest of that crew as soon as we come back.
The Monte Carlo SS of NASCAR champion Dale Earnhardt uses just one make of tire, the Goodyear Racing Eagle. And every Monte Carlo SS leaves Chevrolet with just one make of tire, the Goodyear Eagle GT Street Radial. Not by coincidence, because Goodyear makes better high-performance tires for the track and for the street. Goodyear Eagles, they'll take you home the quick way or to the winner's circle.
Goodyear, take me home.
It runs with a beauty, an inner strength, a force that sets it apart. Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Run with it.
Now, during Ford's leadership celebration, get a $1,000 cash bonus on Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Live from Madison Square Garden, it's the 100th anniversary of the USA Mobile Indoor Track and Field Championships. Year after year, the best in the world have gathered at the Garden. You're invited to celebrate along with these top athletes who will be competing in this, the final event of the 1988 Mobile Indoor Grand Prix season, Friday, February 26th. Tickets are available at the Garden box office and all Ticketron outlets, or by calling Teletron at 212-947-5850.
They're coming. They're coming to your town. Wait till you tell the kids. The all-new Muppet Babies Live with special guest stars Miss Piggy and Kermit.
Hello, everybody. Hi there.
The Muppet Babies live on stage. Wait till you tell the kids.
At the Felt Forum now through February 28th. For ticket information, call 212-563-8300.
Well, on the Winston Cup Tour, his luck has been anything but good this year, but on the Busch Grand National Series, another win for Harry Gant here at Charlotte. Pat Patterson is in victory lane.
Well, Harry Gant is out of the car. Ed Whitaker, the car owner, coming up and giving Harry a big hug as he has really done a fantastic job this afternoon. And Harry, a big hug. Harry, congratulations. A great run for your team this afternoon. You've enjoyed a lot of success with this car, and you were successful again today.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, the Ed Whitaker and all the Chris and all the boys just done a heck of a job on the car. You know, we ran real good to start the race. Car's been running real good all week, but we come in and changed some tires there before the halfway, and we made some adjustments. Then we got off, so we had to keep adjusting back and work our way through that doggone lap traffic. And it got down there to the last between me and Darrell and 00 Brent. And I knew if I didn't get in front, I probably wouldn't be able to pass him because the track was pretty slick. And my car out front could run pretty good, but if somebody let up a little bit, it hurt my car. I think I had a lot higher gear in it. We were practicing such fast laps and using such a high gear, the race pace was much slower and then a lower gear would have helped a little bit, but it come right through on the end like it always does.
Harry, winning the race here so close to home, and after having a tough year in a Winston Cup car, I know that every time you come to victory lane, regardless in this car or the other one, it really is a boost for all of your people.
It sure is, you know, especially all of our team, you know, the Mach 1 race team, the Skoll team, and all our people down there. And I think this helps our crew, you know, to be able to drive Ed Whitaker's car. And you know, like I say before, Buick, you know, is main V6 in this thing, Jim Ruggles V6 engine, run real good all day. And all the boys at Whitaker's have just done a good job on this car.
Well, congratulations. Handsome Harry Gant comes home a winner in the All-Pro Auto Parts 300.
Talking about a disastrous season to date in Winston Cup, he's been running at the finish in 6 of only his 25 starts. No top 5 and only 4 top 10 finishes. But today, as you see in the top 5 rundown, Harry Gant takes $44,000 and the win. Third of the year. Darrell Waltrip second. Elliott, Wallace, and Allison run out the top 5. Eli has a tremendous run. There's a top 10. L.D. Ottinger is 6th. Bobby Moroso, young fella, finished in 7th. Good run for Glenn Jarrett in 8th. Bobby Dragon 9th. And Brett Bodine, after that disastrous accident, a blown engine, with 1 lap to go, will come home in 10th spot.
Tough break for Brett Bodine. The Busch Grand National season point chase is continuing. Larry Pearson, because of his early departure from the event, unable to wrap up the championship here, so the battle moves on to the next stop on the Busch Grand National Tour. But for this afternoon, it's Harry Gant, and all of us here at SETN congratulate Harry Gant, Ed Whitaker, and all the crew on Harry's victory in the All-Pro Auto Parts 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This SETN NASCAR Racing Special has been brought to you by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Never matters how far you go, Goodyear takes you home. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Exxon, quality you can count on. Exxon. The executive producer of SETN Sports is Jim Wigglesworth. Today's coverage from Charlotte Motor Speedway has been produced by John R. Lewis. Finishing 11th in today's race was Brad T. Donnie Allison was 12th, Patty Moeach 13th. 14th went to Jimmy Hensley, and Dale Jarrett finished 15th. 16th was Mike Alexander. Benny Curley finishing 17th ahead of Rick Mast. Tommy Ellis and Robert Ingram Jr., your top 20. On the Busch Grand National points chase, Larry Pearson, as we said, couldn't wrap it up today, but he does still have a 323-point lead over Jack Ingram. Larry Pearson did win $7,100 today. That brings his 1987 season race winnings total to better than $174,300. That's an all-time record on the Busch Grand National Tour. Hope you can join us here on SETN. We have continuing race coverage for you from Martinsville, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, IHRA drag racing. And remember, This Week in Motorsports, hosted by Pat Scanlon, joined this year by Big Daddy Don Garlitz for an inside look at the drag racing world, results and features from racing around the country and around the world. Our thanks to Jerry Punch and Pat Patterson. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for joining us from Charlotte.